this right here, man, that you play when you feeling down on your ism, right? Play this shit right here, resuscitate your pimping and get you right back on your mission, right? For you hoes, this that shit you play when you ain't feeling like super hoe today. Play this shit right here and spark up your hoeing and get you right back going, you dig? Dig this. Pimps for real, don't mistake it for fashion. The turf that birthed my reputation for mashing was the track with active, attractive hoes. Professional goers that attract the dough. Like magnets to metal, never settle. We scorching them fag bitches, pedal for them portions. My whores win it all. Not the ones on the sideline wishing but didn't ball in the guidelines. My bitches did it all. Down 7 below in the snow for dough. Over 120 in the sun for fun. They mash for hours, hooker baths, not showers. Bright and early, down and dirty for the cash and power. They gotta get the cash, the towers, and reach it all to a pimp. In my position, I'm all but exempt. These bras not wimps, I'm like them renegade bitches. BFFs with tricks but never getting paid riches. Grenade bitches, they dynamite, blowing up on the pimpin' and missing when the time is right. But when they life gets strife, they see pimpin' shining bright, but they action is life without. Bitch, one strike you out. Can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga. See, that's the difference, nigga. The pimpin' mashin' for these riches, nigga. Nothing like you master magician niggas. Smoking mirrors with your game, hella extras to reflect the opposite appearance of a lame. Bitches coming from y'all, I can't rock with those. Tender-footed and rooted in them doctor shows. Soft shoe rituals, minute residuals. Papers on life support, your loots and critical. Something I learned about when running my earned route. And working with turnouts is murdering burnouts. Cause knocking one of you niggas for a scarred bitch. That's knocking one of you niggas for some garbage. I'm heartless regardless, empty with sympathy, but banked up to the max with pimpathy. No remedy for me, I'm like this. My life is vice grip, synced in permanent ink. You can't rewrite this. My blood type is P positive, beautifully deposited with a lot of it. I'm popping this shit, and when I pop it so hard I make a trapping ass bad bitch wanna hoe hard. Can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga. Come on, pimpin', man, pop that shit. Show these sucker niggas they can't stop that shit. Let these hookers know if they wanna cop that shit. Treat the bag like it's hot, bitch, and drop that shit. Dig. And to you hoes, if you ever took a loss, bitch, show these bitches how to bounce back like a boss, bitch. Let them know that the best way to floss, bitch, is reach that paper to some pimpin' hoe and toss it. Can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga. Top of it to everybody. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and tapping in with a pimp. Give me just a second. Hold on. Y'all already know what to do when you step into a pimp's domain. Wipe your feet off at the door. Hit that like button. We gonna get into this game, man. Everybody and they mama been sweating me about this one, man. So we gonna get into it. You dig? Just give me just a second. Hold up. Yeah, we gonna get into it. I'm just sharing it so people can be notified, because sometimes people don't get the YouTube notification, so a pimp got to share it. You dig? Almost ready. Give me just a second. Bam. Okay. Yeah, man. Hold on. Give me just a second. All right. Okay, that's better. Yeah, man, y'all already know what to do, man. Wipe your feet off at the door when you step into a pimp's domain. Hit that like button. We're going to get into this game, man. As many of you know, not only Cash Out, but his mama and his cousin, boy, the courtroom stuck it to their ass. Did them real ugly, man. And it's unfortunate. I hate to see it. I don't take no joy in that shit. I don't take no joy in seeing a young black man as young as him, or just anybody, being done unfairly like that, because I don't think he was done fair. But, like I keep saying, the game is rigged. The game did a lot of us get ourselves involved in when it comes to that courtroom, man. The game is rigged. So let me get my shit together real quick so we can get right into it, man. Cash Out himself was sentenced to life plus 70 years. His mama was sentenced to 30 years. And his cousin was sentenced to life plus 60 years. So I'm looking for this message. Looking for this video. Hold on. Shit. Okay, so let me get my screen right. So this is Cash Out sentencing yesterday morning in Fulton County, Georgia. So this is when he got sentenced yesterday. They gave him 70 years on top of a life sentence, and the court allowed him to speak, and this is what he said. Let's get into it. We're going to break this down play by play.
Good morning today, Your Honor.
Good morning.
I want to start out by thanking you for giving us a fair trial. I want to thank the jurors for the amount of time that they put in to judge this trial. This time being on this trial, I was able to see how the jurors are put in a tough position to, sit there and judge someone's life,
I'm trying to understand why this lady got this thing over her mouth. I never seen that before. Maybe one of y'all can enlighten the pimp, because I don't get this part right here. What is this about? Like, why does she have this thing over her mouth? I imagine she's the transcript lady, the one who types everything that's being said. I don't know if that thing over her mouth is like some new technology that allows her to like whisper into the thing to a microphone and it records. I don't know. It just looked unusual, but let's continue.
And you know, it's a hard decision, and I felt like they made the wrong judgment. I've done things in my life. I'm not perfect, but the things I've been accused of, I know that I haven't done those things. I know it's typical for a person to come up here and, you know, show remorse to, you know, crimes that they have done, but I can only show remorse to the people that I know that was in this trial, which is Kiara Adams, Deanna Sanders, and Jasmine Brown.
Oh wow, they actually played it with the names out, because I listened to this yesterday, and the version of it that I heard yesterday, they had the names bleeped out. So that's interesting that Fox 5 Atlanta left the names out there. Okay, dig that.
Not remorse on behalf of like I did anything to them, because if you know me, and people who really know me know that I wouldn't force anybody to do anything. I met women, I dated women who were doing escort or whatever, however people want to look at it from a moral standpoint, but who was doing these things as a grown woman. I've only dealt with grown women. Nothing was forced. Nothing was coerced or anything of that nature. If you notice, before this trial, no woman can say anything about me before this trial. If you notice, before this indictment, no woman can say anything about me before this indictment.
See, man, you know, a lot of guys at their sentencing give these types of statements, and to be honest with you, a lot of them can be kept. You know, so far the things that he's saying is not going to have any bearings on his situation. It's not going to, I mean, at this point, it can't really hurt, but at the same time, it's not going to really help. And then on top of that, you know, he goes on to say in this statement that he's been locked up for 4 years. So you've had a lot of time to think about everything from every angle. So when it comes time to give a statement like this, if you're going to do it, you got to do it right, man. And so far, it just ain't what it could be and what it should be. Because, you know, these people in that courtroom, they're expecting him to, as he say, you know, show remorse. He's not really showing remorse, and then he's not making sense with the things that he's saying. He says that he can only show remorse to the people in the case, and he named the alleged victims, but then he's not really showing remorse because he's saying that he didn't do what he's accused of. So again, you know, he's not really making sense when he talks, and it's obvious to me that he really didn't think very deeply before he got up there to speak. You know, you're supposed to have this in your head ready. Worst case scenario, okay, if I go up there and give a statement at the sentencing, this is what I'm going to say. Because in this instance, it can't really help. But if he come back on the appeal, then you never know. It might help somewhat, because it gives the court an impression of him. This is his opportunity to speak and give the court, you know, make a good impression on them as far as his character and his personality. But let's continue.
I get the situations that people are put in when they're faced with a certain type of crime or a certain type of time, and they're bullied into this situation to put the blame on someone, or to put the blame on Cash Out, or to put the blame on someone who's at the top. That's why I didn't really fault them for their decision. I didn't fault Deanna Sanders for making her decision during a proffer. She just had a child. Mind you, she was just on video call with me while being incarcerated. I don't fault Kiera Adams for doing the things she did with her proffer because, mind you, she was facing a certain amount of time handling her probation in different cases that she's on. I don't fault people for making accusations because I'm a man that typically let women leave on their own behalf. Never held them in prison or held them in slavery or said, you can't leave me or you can't do this. Every woman you seen come on this stand showed you that they left and came back willingly on their own. What I mean by that, they left on their own and they came back willingly on their own. During this trial, I was able to see, how valuable life is and how valuable the people that you hang around or the people that you even date or the people that you even know, how valuable it is to judge their character. Sometimes I let people stay around who I knew was going to affect a situation that I had going on. So I don't, and for the people who came to this trial that I never met a day in my life, never had any contact with them, never had a text message with them, never had an interaction with them, don't even know where most of these stories came from, it's baffling. Never forced a woman to commit a sexual act. I've been traveling all around the world from here to Dubai, and you would never hear a woman say that I forced them to do anything sexual or commit a rape with anybody. I don't hang around people that do things of that nature.
See, when you make these kind of statements, right? If you pay attention to his entire statement up until this point, he's been speaking for almost 5 minutes so far. The whole statement is 9.5 minutes roughly. Up until this 5-minute mark, he's pretty much speaking from his own perspective. He's not speaking in consideration of the perspective of the alleged victims. Now, you don't have to kiss ass per se. You don't have to act like you have empathy for the alleged victims, but you do have to kind of, if you're going to make a statement like this, you kind of got to speak from a non-biased standpoint. His entire statement so far has been biased. Again, he didn't really think very far into this statement. He just got up there and started speaking from his heart, and you got to speak from your mind if you're going to make a statement like this, man. But let's continue.
I feel like, and somebody asked me this the other day, it was like, every time I see your head high and you always smiling, because when you have that confidence, it takes me back to the Bible. When you have that confidence and you can be falsely accused of things. Jesus was falsely accused. A lot of the prophets were falsely accused. You don't have that emotion like you've done something. So if you seen me with my head high or if you seen me smiling, it's because I know at the end of the day, through Jesus Christ, the Most High will always give you the actual judgment.
Man, hey, see, for those of y'all who ain't never been locked up before, you got to understand how he's being impacted right now. Hey, man, them 4 walls in that prison cell, that jail cell, and they play some cold games on your mind, man. And you start to have irrational thoughts and you say irrational things out of your mouth, right? And he don't understand that's one of the worst things you can do when you in this type of position is what they perceive as you comparing yourself to Jesus Christ. Now, people always go to that like, you know, Jesus Christ was falsely accused. They said this about Jesus. They said that about Jesus. They talk bad about Jesus. So, you know, they could talk bad about me too. And, they could falsely accuse me. Listen, and I don't know why I don't really hear too many people say this whenever people try to compare themselves to Jesus or put themselves in the same light as Jesus. Hey, listen, man. One thing you and Jesus Christ ain't never had and will never have in common is that Jesus was perfect. You're not perfect. Even the closest person on planet Earth to perfection is far from perfect. Jesus Christ was perfect. He was perfect. So when you put yourself in the light of a Jesus Christ, it's as if to say that, you want these people to see you as perfect. Anybody with a mind and who know the scriptures is going to look at it in that type of way. Like, what, you trying to say that you perfect? Earlier in the statement, he said that he wasn't perfect. He done some things in his life that, wasn't cool or whatever he said. But that's one of the worst things you can do in front of a courtroom, in front of a judge and prosecutors and things like that is put yourself in the same light as Jesus Christ. Like, why do they do that? And then you talking about through Christ Jesus all things is possible. Yeah, when you living for Christ, but you not living for Christ. I could see if maybe he was living for Christ and then he got caught up in this case, and he's consistently been that way throughout his time. But no, you rapping about selling dope and street shit and supposed to be pimping and all this type of stuff. No. You a OnlyFans model. No. Don't talk about Jesus, man. Leave Jesus out of this, man. Don't do that. But let's continue.
So I really thank you for providing us a fair trial. Just me getting to know you during trial, I was like, she's just the judge. But when you sit 12 people in that panel and you have them, judge our lives and, put them in a position to judge our lives, it takes you back to, once again, the Bible when people had to judge these prophets' lives. And I say, if you know me, you actually know me. There's plenty of people that know me in this world. There's plenty of people that know me in this jail. There's plenty of people that know me where I'm from. Like I say, once again, I'm not perfect. I come from certain areas. I come from, certain environments. I come from doing things in my past life before the music. But I'm here to tell you that if you sat in this trial and you paid attention to this trial, before these dates, no woman could ever say, I done those things to them. Before these dates, you can go on my Instagram and see these women enjoying themselves, having their own things.
Now, see, that's what he should have been focused on, is that, because he keep talking about before these dates, women around the world, nobody's ever said this and that. That's irrelevant right now. Talk about your relationship, your real relationship with these women. See, now he's speaking the right type of stuff. You can see these women enjoying themselves with me, right? Before this case came to be. You see these women enjoying life, having their way with me, willingly. They happy, they smiling, they living lavishly. They whatever they had going on. Everybody posts everything on social media, so I'm pretty sure that was evident. That's what he should have put emphasis on. And because it's him and his situation, there's things that he knows about his personal relationship with these women that the courtroom doesn't know. He's able to give an account that only he can give. The bitches in the case, they can't give the type of account that he's going to give. The prosecutor, the judge, the jury, he's supposed to enlighten them about things. The time where you paid somebody's mama's rent when they was behind on rent. The time when, somebody was in a jam in their family and you came to the rescue. You know, you're supposed to speak about things like that. You know, the time when, you know, these women was going through things and they didn't know how to deal with it, and you was there to support them like nobody else could. You're supposed to talk about stuff like that. You're supposed to, because there's already been a picture of you painted as a monster. You can't just go up there and simply say, man, I ain't no monster. I don't know what they talking about, man. You could talk to bitches around the world, man. Shit, ain't nobody ever said nothing like this about me. I ain't no monster. It's easy to say that. But okay, they painted a picture of you as a monster. Paint a picture of yourself as somebody who's not a monster. You know, I'm pretty sure it's all kind of good deeds, because a bitch ain't gonna never say that. You know, I'm pretty sure there's all kinds of good deeds that he's done with these women and on behalf of these women. That's what you're supposed to talk about. And it's like, now after 6 minutes and 45 roughly seconds, now you want to talk about how these women was, you know, enjoying themselves around you. You should have been on that. But let's continue.
Their own life. Before these dates, I could say you had these women that never had anything to say about me before this indictment, before the RICO. You had these women actually talking to me while I was incarcerated. I've been incarcerated for 4 years, and these women are interacting with me. These women who took the stand and supposedly scared of me, or monsters, or I'm a monster, or took these proffers. This wasn't the case before they was indicted. So from my perspective, I feel like some people can get bullied into a situation that they really don't really want to do. And I'm sitting here just holding my head high and just, you know, feeling that one day the truth will come out. One day the truth will come out on my situation. One day the truth will come out on this rape allegation, that these things never happened. And when you see a person get up on that stand and put their hand on the Bible and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, that means you have to be perfect, like you're Jesus. You have to be perfect on that stand. You can't show a flaw. And that's a tough one. It's a tough one for me, because I had flaws in my life. So you have to tell the complete truth on that stand. And I got up there and see people put their hand on that Bible and not tell the complete truth. And that's baffling.
How's it baffling, man? Bitches come out the womb lying. They first words out their mouth is a lie. You know what I mean? How's it baffling for them to get up there and put their hand on the Bible and swear that they gonna tell the truth, and then everything out their mouth is a lie? Come on, man. You know these chicks, and you 34 years old, so you know you not no. I mean, you still fairly young, but you just not no fresh off the porch dude, man. You been around for a little while, man. So you know bitches ain't shit. You know they lie, and especially when there's an incentive for them to lie. And you know he using the word bullied, but at the end of the day, man, they gonna do whatever they feel like doing, and what they feel like doing is something different every 2 seconds. Right. So again, you know, he just used a lot of wrong language in this statement, man. But let's finish it up.
At the end of the day, I put my trust in the Most High. I put my trust in the universe to bring out the truth, to bring out the truth of these people who made these allegations. To me, it's like you have no hope.
Man, look at the bailiff on the side. He like, man, this nigga tripping. Look at the bailiff face, man. Hold on. Look at the bailiff. He like, man. The bailiff, he done seen, like, you know, in the past month, you know, past 30 days, he done seen, you know, a few dudes get a life sentence and shit like that, man, to get up there and make statements. He listening like, man, this fool tripping. Look at the bailiff face, man.
You have no heart. And I know people want me to stay in line or walk a toe, but when you speaking something truthfully and you speaking from the heart, and you know that this is not your character, something must be said.
The bailiff's like, man, this fool, he just need to hurry up and wrap this up, man, because he ain't said nothing good for himself.
And I just wanted to address the court and give my perspective on the things that I felt during this trial and the judgment that I felt that the jurors gave us was not the correct judgment. And it will show.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Matthews.
Yeah, man. So that's Cash Out's statement before the court, man. I ain't even get to do my first order of business, man, which is put some love in my body. Let me hydrate my game, man. If you ain't wiped your feet off at the door when you step into a pimp's domain, please do so now. Hit that like button. I see we having family reunions in the chat. Okay, dig that. See how this game be bringing peoples together. Yeah, shout out to y'all though. Let me shout my peoples out, man. Marshall McGee, my brother Malachi, man, good looking with the $20 holla. I'm sipping on Fiji water. Person somebody daughter. You dig? Much love, bro. Appreciate you, man. King Beers, as always, good looking with the $2 holla. Can't keep listening to the game for free. I appreciate you, man. Tyler, as always, good looking with the $2 holla. Hit the like. Yes, indeed. You did. Appreciate you, man. Aquarius Jones, good looking with the $5 holla. Good live stream, Brother Freeze is it. I appreciate you, Mr. Jones. Julius Mack, good looking with the $10 holla. Blessed to the game. I appreciate the hard work, 100 RIP Sin. I appreciate you as well, man. Good looking. Yeah, man, you know, again, I hate to see this situation for Cash Out, not only him, but his mother and his cousin, man. It's an ugly situation. Because the way that they put it together, man. See, there's certain things that take place in history that serve as like a turn of the a changing of the tide, a changing of the guard, or whatever you want to call it, right? In modern times, the R. Kelly situation, it really set a different tone in the quote unquote justice system, right? And that was R. Kelly being the first celebrity, you know, superstar, iconic singer to be charged and convicted of the RICO. You know, for those of y'all unfamiliar, man, the RICO was something that they came up to prosecute the mafia. And the reason why they came up with the RICO was because in a lot of cases it was hard to convict mafia members because most of them, you know, later on, some of them became what they themselves call stool pigeons, snitches and things like that. But in most cases, when they went after the big mob bosses, you know, it was hard to convict them dudes. And a lot of times it was because, you know, technology wasn't nearly what it is now back in those days, for one. And then for two, because they didn't have the technology that we have today, they relied heavily upon testimony, people's statements. And most people didn't talk back then, right? So they came with the RICO. And the RICO was like a big umbrella of bullshit that allowed the government to convict the mafia in ways that they never could before, right? So, but that's what it initially was made for. The RICO was made for the mafia. Now, you fast forward a little further into time, like the 2010s, I want to say, the first, because they started using it on gangs too. Or not just gangs, but like groups of individuals that they might consider a gang, right? The first non-mafia people that I seen, and they might not be the first, but the first non-mafia people that I saw get charged with the RICO was the cats from San Diego. You know, it was a group of cats from San Diego doing their thing, you know, having the Britnards and all that type of stuff, right? And you know, they had a lot of stuff going on. But they hit them San Diego dudes with the RICO. And a lot of them went down behind that, right? So then you fast forward a little further into more recent times, and you have the R. Kelly situation. And when I seen R. Kelly get charged with the RICO, it's like, for real? And then it's even crazier when he get convicted of the RICO. Right? Now, what was different about R. Kelly's situation that really just like messed the game up now for everybody, because, you know, R. Kelly is not like a street dude. He's not a criminal. He's never led a criminal lifestyle. You know, he's always been in the entertainment business for, you know, his whole adult life. So when I seen R. Kelly not only get charged but convicted of the RICO, it's like, damn, this is crazy. You know, everybody else that they put the RICO on, like I said, the San Diego dudes, you know, a lot of them was known for being street guys, right? And, you know, the mob, they known for, you know, they organized crime, but they, you know, they known for being in crime, organized crime. So when they hit R. Kelly with the RICO, man, that shit was crazy. Then they convicted him. So after R. Kelly, they hit Young Thug with the RICO. Fortunately, by the mercies of God, he was able to beat that RICO case. They hit Puff with the RICO. Fortunately, by the mercies of God, Puff was able to beat the RICO case. Young Thug's RICO was a state case. Puff's RICO was a federal case. R. Kelly's RICO was a federal case. And now in Cash Out's situation, his RICO is a state case, right? So it's a new trend that they have where they charging celebrities with the RICO. Now, I don't really know a whole lot about Cash Out, besides the fact that, you know, he's a very successful rapper. He done put some hits out and things like that. But one thing I do know is that he not the pimping, right? And to my understanding, he got love for the pimping. You know, I remember when Sinful went live speaking about this situation when it first came to be a few years ago. Sinful let it be known that Cash Out used to follow him and like posts and things like that. So I'm pretty sure that Cash Out had an admiration for the pimping. And see, right, also, you're right, Magic, I forgot about Young Durk, also hit with the RICO. I mean, Lil Durk, excuse me. But see, you know, this is one thing about when you have certain celebrity status about yourself. You're gonna have all kind of things coming your way. And a lot of these things, I'll go as far as to say the majority of these things that come your way look good and sound good. But everything that looks good and sound good ain't good, right? A lot of good looking things are bad for you. And, you know, I can imagine how it could be for somebody like him, because even though Cash Out has put out these massive hits, you know, I'm pretty sure that he was signed to a messed up deal like historically most artists are. And even in his generation, the 360 deal, even more terrible. I'm pretty sure he was signed to one of them 360 deals, right? So if you compare the money that he generated for the label to the money that he was actually given, I'm pretty sure it's like completely lopsided. He, you know, none of them artists get the type of money that they supposed to get from the labels. You know, they make the labels rich beyond rich though. So with that being the case, and then if you notice, obviously he had a short run where he was doing his thing with the music, and then it just kind of like the brakes got pumped on it, and you don't really see him putting out no hits anymore. That could be for a number of reasons. You know, a lot of times artists like Bobby Shmurda, prime example, you know what I mean? But a whole lot of artists, you know, they get locked into messed up deals and they can't put out music the way they want to, let alone whatever kind of personal situations might be going on in their life. But I'm pretty sure these personal situations can be impacted by they situation with these record deals, right? So for one reason or another, man, the hits ain't coming like they was, and obviously I'm sure the money ain't coming like it was. So at the same time the money ain't coming like it was, you still have the celebrity status. And again, with the celebrity status, a lot of opportunities is gonna come. A lot of bitches is gonna want to get down with you in various different ways. Some of them is just gonna throw the cat at you and try to get in bed with you. But then, you know, right around the time he come into popularity as a rapper, maybe a little shortly after that, it became very popular for young ladies just setting that thing out there with a for sale sign on it, right, to mess with rappers. You know, in the mid 2010s, like 2015, 2016, a lot of chicks in the game just had a thing for rappers. A lot of rappers was getting chose by, you know, females from the game. So he still got the celebrity status. And I'm pretty sure, you know, chicks is getting at him. And, you know, he might hook up with some of these chicks, and then some of the chicks that he hook up with, you know, they got that thing for sale. But because he's Cash Out, you know, they gonna give him a shot for free. And in the midst of giving him a shot for free, you know, they get comfortable with him. They let him know what they about, what they got going on. And then because they like him so much and because he's Cash Out, they hand him a trap. And it's like when he get that first trap, it's like, ooh, okay. Shit, I can't really do shows the way I want to. I can't put music out the way that I want to. My music career ain't popping the way I wanted to, but shit, I could do this. Psst, bet. You know what I mean? So I can imagine it, like a lot of other people, that's how things happen for him. So, you know, he start thinking that he can beat his pimping. And then what reaffirms the thoughts of him being able to pimp and beat a pimping in his mind is when you look at the goofballs that do things in the name of the game. You know, so many dudes that are rappers that claim to be pimps, and then so many dudes just on social media saying that they pimps, acting like pimps, but ain't got a pimp molecule nowhere in their body. And like I've said before when I spoke about the Mexican, it's no different for somebody like Cash Out. When you look at these dumbass dudes calling themselves pimps and they get in action and they breaking on and sending on and doing all of this, I'm pretty sure Cash Out thinking to himself like, man, I could do that. I'm smarter than him. I'm flyer than him. You know, I could do that. That ain't nothing. Like if he could do it, I for sure can do it. So that reaffirms to him, and that builds his confidence in his ability to be this pimping, right? But what's unfortunate is that, you know, there's usually not anything that comes into these guys' lives that just lets them know, like, boy, you ain't no damn pimping. You know, you ain't got no pimp nothing nowhere up in you, man. Leave this shit alone, right? Because in most cases, the real pimping ain't gonna be hanging out with him and pimping on a level in his face to where he looking at that and he like, damn, I know I can't do that shit. I know I ain't cut out for this, right? And then, you know, he not so deep into the game where he's side by side pimping with different P's that go leaking, catch cases. You know, he not seeing that aspect of the game because, you know, he got chicks, you know, quote unquote choosing them and handing it over. So, you know, he ain't getting turned on to the game by nobody, no men in the game. It's just a chick, you know, decide to hand it over to him and, you know, now he think he's some pimping. But he's not being influenced by no gentleman in the game. So he don't understand from a gentleman's perspective how this shit really go. Only thing he know is what the bitches that put him in the Build a Pimp workshop is telling him about the game. And then what little tidbits he might pick up watching Sinful to P and individuals like that, right? So you know, he don't understand what pimping really go through. Right? He don't understand things, you know, from a pimp's perspective, from a pimp that's, you know, that get pimping without celebrity status, without money, without, you know, all the advantages that, you know, different individuals have. A young pimp just getting in the game, just hopping off the porch and this shit, you know, raw and uncut, and then growing and developing and evolving in the game into some seasoned pimping. He don't understand that part of the game, right? And see, within the same time frame that you got these chicks choosing rappers, social media is evolving as well. The game is evolving and social media is evolving. And when social media evolves the way that it does, what happens is you have a generation of people that just get addicted to rewards, get addicted to results. And now, even in 2025, we at a point now where the majority of people are addicted to results and addicted to rewards to a point where people feel like they too good for a process. And especially with AI coming in the way that it is now, AI is really pushing process to the side. Like, man, I ain't got to go through no damn process. I could use AI. So, but even without AI becoming what it is now, if you go back to Cash Out's time, you know, trying to tamper with the game, social media still gets people addicted to rewards and results and make people feel like they ain't got to go through the certain process. See, pimping, we go through a process to develop ourselves the way that we are. You know, you see me right now, I might look cool and I might sound cool and all that type of shit, but it took a whole lot for me to get where I am as a man and as the pimping right now. You know, this shit wasn't just like I just decided to put a suit on one day and practice my words and now I know how to talk good. Okay, cool. Let me get on YouTube and talk this pimp shit. No. And I went through some shit, you know, and if Cash Out understood the game from that perspective, he might not have wanted to get involved with this shit. You know, also what happened around the time Cash Out probably start tampering with the game is, man, the laws changed drastically. You know, they ain't booking you just on pimping and pandering no more. The same exact thing that the law used to call pimping and pandering, and those charges are still on the books, but they put some steroids on it, and now it's called human trafficking or sex trafficking. Same type of thing, right? A pimp might have some 304s and they doing everything willingly, and they not being forced, coerced, or intimidated or manipulated to do anything. But when them people get a hold of you, they gonna coerce, intimidate, and manipulate the bitch into saying that you forced her to do X, Y, Z. And when that force comes into play, it goes from pimping and pandering to human trafficking, right? So if you pay attention, you don't really see pimps getting charged with pimping and pandering no more. They charge pimps with human trafficking. I know people who the broad even got on the stand. The broad even got on the stand and said, you know, I did everything willingly. I wasn't forced to do anything. And they still convict this man of human trafficking. You know, when you put the willingness into it, the human trafficking is supposed to be null and void. It's not supposed. That's the life of human trafficking, is the force part of it. If everything is done willingly, then really you know, theoretically you suck the air, you suck the life out of the human trafficking charge, and what you left with is pimping and pandering. Because pimping and pandering ain't got nothing to do with force. You know, a chick can say that she willingly did X, Y, Z for you, but you know, that's still pimping and pandering though. And you can get convicted of that, and in most places and in cases, the max for that is like 6 years. But a lot of cases you might get 2 years, you might get 4 years, whatever, right? But what Cash Out didn't understand, man, is that a lot of things changed drastically when he decided to tamper with this game. And again, everybody addicted to rewards. Everybody only focused on what they can gain. So when you're a Cash Out and you go from this, you know, platinum rapper to, you know, your career is stagnated, and now you got females that's, you know, attractive. You know, you take a liking to this attractive female and she's getting money and she's willing to hand it over to you, and you don't really have to put forth no effort. You ain't really got a pimp to have this bitch. You not really thinking about like, damn, how can this go wrong? Especially if you ain't ever been through, you know, no legal situations, which I don't think he has. I don't think he ever fought no case to this magnitude. I'm pretty sure he hasn't, you know. So when you ain't really been through nothing legally, when things get presented to you, you not thinking like, damn, how could this go wrong? How could this go bad? Right? See, a motherfucker who done been in the streets and you done been charged and you done had people you done had people come to court to testify on you, and you done had prosecutors lie on you, and you know, you done, when you done been through that system before and you done lost your freedom, you know, moving forward, when opportunities get presented to you, you gonna have some scrutiny with it. You're gonna be like, okay, well, this look cool, that look cool, but how could this go bad? What if this happens? What if that happens? What if, you know, you gonna question things, right? And within you questioning things, you gonna position people to prove themselves worthy to get down with you, right? See, that's what a seasoned pimp gonna do. A seasoned pimp is going to put forth certain challenges to these females to see if they can stand up to this challenge. And if they do, then it's like, okay, now I have a better idea of this woman's character. Now I have a better idea of, you know, her what's important to her value system, right? You get to understand who and what you're dealing with, and then you decide to move forward or not. But again, you know, when you ain't been through nothing and you got this attractive woman trying to hand you some money consistently, you're not really going to question nothing in most cases. So, this is the unfortunate thing for Cash Out, man. And then, like I said, he really just, this situation happened. It couldn't have happened to him at a worse time because, like I said, you got the laws changing. You got all these, you know, wannabe 304s choosing rappers instead of pimps like they should be. Then you have R. Kelly getting tried and convicted of the RICO. You got all of this stuff going on at the same time or around the time he getting involved with this shit. So, you know, it couldn't have happened to him at a worse time, right? And, you know, it's unfortunate that his mama, they gave his mama 30 years. And she got it the lightest. They gave moms 30 years. They gave his cousin life plus 60 years. You know, they charged him with aggravated sodomy. I'm like, damn. That's cold. So, yeah, man, like I say, it's unfortunate. I hate this for him, you know, and he definitely ain't the pimping, never was the pimping, but I don't say that to put him in a bad light or make him seem as though he's less than a man or, you know, this what he get or anything like that. No. You know, hopefully he can come back on the appeal, right? Because this is my prediction for the future, right? See, those of us who are old enough to remember the dope game in the 80s and 90s, a lot of brothers was getting railroaded, man. You know, especially LA County where I come from, man, brothers was getting railroaded. And then when you grow up and you go through the system yourself and you see all these brothers getting railroaded, man, getting done dirty, and courts like Torrance Court and LAX Court, man, they doing people dirty. So a lot of people got railroaded, right? And then when they come with the 3 strikes law. Even they getting railroaded in an even worse way, right? So in the 80s and 90s, especially, and even before that, you got a lot of wrongful convictions. So what you see now happening is a lot of people, after doing 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, this person was wrongfully convicted. They knew that shit from the beginning. But for one reason or another, it gets brought to the light that these individuals were wrongfully convicted, and they get released and they sue the state and the city where they got convicted, and they get these millions of dollars and all that type of shit. It's like, that's cool, but shit, you took 30, 40 years of my life. Fuck these millions. That's cool, but shit, I want my life back. And they can't give nobody their life back. But I say all that to say it's different waves. You know, the 3 strike shit was like terrible. That 3 strike shit was terrible. And a lot of brothers got railroaded in that shit. And now a lot of people that got railroaded with that 3 strike shit have had action to come home because you know, it was a lot of foul stuff going on with that, right? So on that same token, you see now, it's in the early stages. Now they just slapping the RICO on anybody like a bumper sticker. They just RICO, RICO, RICO. They just slapping the RICO on everybody, right? It's gonna come a time in the future where a lot of these dudes that's getting the RICO now, they gonna come back and say, damn, you know what? This person was wrongfully convicted, or, you know, this person, a witness was, you know, coerced and intimidated by a detective or a prosecutor. You know, same shit they doing with all them dope cases from back in the day. They gonna start doing that in the future with all these RICO cases that they got going on right now. I'm telling you, this was gonna happen. And, you know, people like Cash Out, after doing 20, 30 years, they gonna get released and they gonna give them some millions of dollars when they sue and all that type of shit. But it's like, damn, man, you took my life on some bullshit and you knew it was some bullshit when you did it. See, these people know right now, they know these people they know R. Kelly ain't guilty of no damn RICO. They know Cash Out ain't guilty of no damn RICO. Right? See, a RICO case is a racketeering, it's a racketeering case, right? A criminal enterprise. So that means it's some money being made. Where's the money? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but with R. Kelly's racketeering, you know, criminal enterprise, I never heard how much money R. Kelly made with this racketeering shit. You know, when Young Thug got charged with the RICO, I never heard how much money he made racketeering, you know. Puffy, I never heard how much money he made racketeering. You know, John Gotti, they talk about how much money he made back then. The mafia dudes, they talk about the money. But with these RICO situations now, where's the money? Like Cash Out. How much money did he make? Where's the money? He had a criminal enterprise that was being fronted with a record label and all this bullshit. Where's the money? That's how you know it's bullshit. And then, you know, that's the unfortunate part about it too, is another thing that's different about today's times is the power of the court of public opinion. The court of public opinion has a power that it shouldn't even have. Everybody got too much damn power. You know, all these goofballs that get on social media and make these posts and do these videos and say this and say that, get in comment sections and make comments, all that shit has way too much power. Because that's why R. Kelly is in prison. R. Kelly is in prison. R. Kelly got convicted of a RICO charge because all y'all motherfuckers on social media said, oh yeah, he did this and he did that, and then, you know, that influenced a surviving R. Kelly bullshit docuseries. Right? And everybody watched the surviving R. Kelly shit. Everybody did a reaction to the surviving R. Kelly shit. Everybody was posting about surviving R. Kelly. So then what happens? The feds say, damn. Everybody already convinced that, you know, R. Kelly is this monster. We could lock his ass up and charge him with the RICO, and that's a slam dunk. And whatever jury that we put together, I'm pretty sure they done seen the coverage, or they done talked to somebody about it, even though they gonna play like they didn't, or we gonna play like they didn't. We gonna play like they don't know about this shit, but the world, everybody know about this shit. Same thing with Puffy's situation. Man, that shit was everywhere. And they gonna try to act like they found some jurors that don't know about this shit. Man, come on, knock it off, man. It's 2025. Right? But it's the court of public opinion that initiates a lot of shit, right? Prime example, right? And his buster ass is probably watching right now because he really like my grandson, right? But it's a YouTube channel. I ain't even gonna say the name of the channel, right? But it's a YouTuber. He try to act like me. He try to talk like me. But he's a different ethnicity, right? I ain't even gonna say his ethnicity. But he's not black. But he's a fan of mine, a super fan of mine, right? And what this guy does is he rides around the blade and he records, 304s down and around, catching dates. He records the pimping, talking with each other, congregating, parked up, all this shit, right? He just records the goings on the blade in Phoenix, right? Now, there was a hotel or a motel in Phoenix called the Royal Inn. And the Royal Inn had a long-standing reputation for certain things going on at this motel. Everybody knew what was going on at this motel. The police knew what was going on at this motel. People in the neighborhood, the community, tricks, 304s, dope dealers, man, everybody knew for years this motel had an old reputation for, certain, seedy activities going on there, right? But it's never been a problem. Everybody know what's going on over there. It is what it is. People didn't even caught cases over there. People done got busted in. It was one cat, just to give you an idea. It was a cat back, I want to say that was like 2015. It was a dude that caught a case and they sentenced him to 335 years. He called himself Chicago. If you ever look up on Google, Pimp Chicago, Phoenix, Arizona, sentenced to 335 years, it's gonna pop right up, right? But it was a guy that went by the name of Chicago. He got busted at the Royal Inn, this motel that I'm talking about, right? And that shit was all over the news. But the shit that he got busted for, again, this motel, even long before he got busted over there, this motel has had this reputation, right? So it's never been a problem. Law enforcement, prosecutors, ain't nobody ever came together and said, you know what? This motel is out of hand. We got to shut this shit down. Nobody ever had that thought. They never gave that push, right? But back to my grandson, my little wannabe super fan of mine. He started making a series of videos calling the Royal Inn a brothel. A lot of y'all probably seen it. It was popular last year, right? He started making a series of videos calling the Royal Inn a brothel. The only brothel in Phoenix. Brothel, brothel, brothel. And he's showing, 304s taking tricks into the room, walking tricks out the room, tricks coming up to the door, knocking on the door, and a 304 letting them in. He's showing all of this shit, right? To where it looks like a damn brothel. Do you know the feds came and seized that joint like right after he started putting them videos? It wasn't long. I don't even think it was a month after he started putting them videos out that the feds came and shut that place down. Right? Now, dude who was making these videos, I'm pretty sure that wasn't his intention. I'm pretty sure he didn't go into it saying, you know what, I'm going to get the Royal Inn shut down. But again, back to the court of public opinion. That's just an example of the power that any and everybody who has access to the internet has. If you have an internet connection, you have the power to fuck shit up. You could be a nobody. You could be homeless. You could be a bum. You don't have to be smart. he did that shit on accident. He just trying to get some views off of his YouTube videos. And again, just like I said with R. Kelly's situation after that Surviving R. Kelly documentary or docuseries, you know, his videos is getting views. He putting only brothel in Phoenix, and then he's showing 304s catching dates at this motel. And that shit is getting hundreds of thousands of views. I'm pretty sure, just like with the R. Kelly situation, the feds seen that shit and was like, you know what? This shit is drawing a lot of attention. And, you know, if it's kind of forcing our hand, because if we allow people to think that there is a brothel operating in Phoenix, then it's going to make us look bad as law enforcement. So we have to shut this down. Right? Even though the Royal Inn been, like I said, that motel been operating on the same shit. Bitches been catching dates at that spot for over a decade. For years. Everybody knew what was going on at this spot. But dude brought a certain type of attention to it on the internet that it never had before. Nobody had ever brought that kind of attention on the internet to this place. Right? So that just gives you an idea of how, you know, times have changed and the things that's going on right now, right? And, you know, I didn't really follow this Cash Out case, you know, play by play over this whole time. But I'm pretty sure, you know, a lot of the same things took place with him, where you got all these people, and it's sad, but a lot of it be you dudes, man. You sucker ass guys. You Me Too ass guys. You raising your hand, me too. Yeah, it happened to me too ass niggas, man. I'm pretty sure there was a lot of that going on with him. Like, he's a monster. He need to be put under the jail. All this, all that. You know what I mean? Pretty sure the same thing was happening with Cash Out. So, but again, back to my point. It's gonna come a time in the future where a lot of these trumped up RICO cases, where they just throwing a book at people, a lot of them is gonna get overturned, and a lot of people is gonna have lawsuits on their hands where they get millions of dollars. But the unfortunate part is, you know, they gonna lose a lot of years out of their life. They gonna have to be the sacrificial lambs. You know, because again, just like we're back in the day when they was giving all the brothers in 3 strikes and you know, giving them life sentences for bullshit and all that type of shit. Man, these people know that these RICO cases is some bullshit. But who's gonna stop them? Like, who is going to? And then, you know, as technology gets smarter, people get dumber. So the power that people have with the internet, right? The court of public opinion. Is the court of public opinion going to come together and say, you know what? These RICO charges is some bullshit? No. Is anybody going to start making documentaries or put out a series of how foul these RICO charges are and how they, you know, wrongfully convicting people and sentencing them to ridiculous sentences? You know, is anybody going to do that? Enforce their hand that way? No. Because again, like I said, as technology gets smarter, people get dumber. So nobody's going to be inclined to pay attention and see what's going on and then speak about it on these platforms and make it a trend, to where now, just like how it's a trend, how it's so cool to put the PDF file jacket on any and everybody, you know, how it's so cool to just, as soon as you see somebody get charged with something, just jump on the bandwagon and start beating them down with everybody else. You know, it's not going to become popular to question these people on their bullshit. See, because what a lot of you don't understand is that the court of public opinion has the power to put the quote unquote justice system on trial. Everybody with an internet connection, if we all come together, we have the power to put judges, prosecutors, lobbyists, legislators. We have the power to put all of them on trial in the court of public opinion. But again, as technology gets smarter, everybody get dumber. So nobody's going to be inclined to do that. There's plenty of examples of how strong the power of the court of public opinion is. But, you know, nobody is considering that though. Nobody understands the power. Nobody is paying attention to the power. Right? Like the correlation between those Phoenix brothel videos and the Royal Inn getting shut down. The average person ain't inclined to put that together. Even if they may have played a part in it happening. They're not inclined to put that together like that. So, you know, again, man, it's just unfortunate, man, because Cash Out ain't the first. He's one of the first, but he definitely ain't going to be the last, man. It's going to be a lot of people because it's a thing now. They've proven that they can get away with it, and who's going to stop them? So it's going to be a lot of people, man. I hate to say it, man. And unfortunately, it's going to be a lot of brothers, man. It's going to be a lot of black men getting charged with this RICO. And, you know, they just going to be made an example out of, man. And I man, it's unfortunate. I hate to see it. You know, and they do the same type of things, man, like what was happening in the dope game in the 80s and 90s, man. You know, a lot of dope boys, you know, they mamas was getting charged with shit too, just like Cash Out's mama getting charged with the RICO like him. You know, it have been so many situations where gentlemen in the game, they'll take they main chick or bottom or whatever you want to call her and charge her with the same shit they charge him with in effort to get her to flip on him. You know, it's a dirty game. They play dirty. Right? So, we've had some very big and vivid examples of, you know, how things can go wrong. Cash Out is the most recent. R. Kelly is among the first. And the unfortunate thing is because, like I said, as technology gets smarter, everybody get dumber. People ain't gonna learn from these situations. People ain't gonna learn to say, you know what, that ain't worth it. I ain't getting into that. So, yeah, man, let me hydrate my game one more again. Put some more love in my body. Listen, man, it's 195 of y'all up in here, but only 154 of y'all done wiped your feet off at the door when you step into a pimp's domain. Please do me a favor. Wipe your feet off at the door. Hit that like button. CJ Not a Bot says, we can't stop though, Freeze. People got to organize though. That's true, CJ Not a Bot. But let me tell you why that's not going to happen though. See, it would take for some people to have a very strong influence to start a movement that can rival feminism, because all of this shit is rooted in feminism. That's what a lot of people don't understand, right? A lot of this shit that's going on is rooted in feminism. Like I talked about before, a lot of the people in the court of public opinion who persecute these guys are men. And a lot of these men, their strongest influence is feminism. A lot of their character, a lot of their ways, a lot of their personality, a lot of things that drive them to do what they do is rooted in feminism. So, you know, before you can combat that, you have to understand that. You have to understand the depth of it. You have to understand the power of it. And it's like a virus. Feminism is like a virus that has spread out, and then as it spreads out, it morphs into different things, and then spreads even further and morphs again, and then spreads even further. But the root of it is feminism. You know, like, look at what's going on. R. Kelly get charged and convicted of the RICO, but it has to do with bitches being victims. Puffy charged with the RICO, even though he wasn't convicted. It has to do with bitches being victims. Cash Out charged and convicted of the RICO. Bitches are victims, right? So if you don't understand anything else, you can at least understand that much, that, you know, it's so easy for women to play the victim role, and everybody sides with them. Nobody questions them. God forbid anybody question these bitches. Oh no, don't do that. Cause you a PDF file too. If you question these supposed to be victims, and you don't just immediately side with them, you know, it's gonna be a throng. It's gonna be throngs of men. This gonna be like, oh, you must be like Cash Out. Why would these women get up here and lie? Of course he did that. Why would they lie? You must be like Cash Out, or you must be like Puffy, or you must be like R. Kelly too. You must be like Bill Cosby too. This is men that say these, or males that say this type of shit. So it's like, you got to understand that's what you up against. You up against feminism, you know, being indoctrinated into damn near everybody. Because it ain't a lot of men out there that just don't jump on the bandwagon every time these bitches cry wolf. It ain't a lot of men out there that just, like, you know that bitches ain't shit, and that, you know, they'll lie and, you know, scrutinize what they say and do. It ain't a lot, you know, so you got to understand that. You're not just fighting the judicial system. Even the judicial system is, you know, a lot of what goes on with that is rooted in feminism. You know, so you really got to understand that before you can, like, just say, oh yeah, we can do this and we can do that. Yeah, we can. But this is what it's going to take. This is what we up against. So because this is what we up against, this is what it's going to take. We're going to have to influence a lot of these males to be men. We're going to have to, you know, just imagine all of these dudes that have feminine ways, feminine outlooks, feminine character, feminine personalities, you know, just a feminine nature about themselves. All of these males, you have to somehow get them to understand, they, you know, hold the mirror up to them and get them to see themselves for what they are, which is, like, that in and of itself is damn near impossible. To get a sucker to see that he a sucker. Like, look, man, you see that sucker in the mirror? Yeah, that's you, man. Okay, now that you see this sucker in the mirror, man, this is what you're going to have to do to turn that sucker into a player, man. This is what you're going to have to do to turn that sucker into a real man. But first you got to understand that, you know, that person that you're looking at in the mirror, that sucker, yeah, that's you. Okay, now that you see that you a sucker, this is how we gonna reverse the curse. This is how we gonna undo that sucker shit. This is the vaccine for that sucker virus up in you, man. You know, that's like next to impossible. So, you know, especially with, like I said, this young generation now, man, anybody born from 1998 on up, man, you know, it's a tough task. It's a tall order. So, and it can be done, but you got to understand, like, the power of what's going on. You know, most of the biggest rappers right now are females, and listen to the shit that they rapping about. And a lot of these dudes is fans of them. You know, and then, like I said before, you know, it's just so much. A lot of the entertainment that we see makes men look like busters. You know, every TV show that you watch is making men look like busters. You know, look at the shit that Obama just said. Every little boy, you know, should have a gay mentor or a gay friend or something like that. Like, and I'm gonna get into that on a whole separate video, but you know, this is what we dealing with. That shit runs deep. You know, and a lot of people don't understand the root of it. The root of it is feminism. It ain't even cool to be a man no more. Like, if you a man and you just like really, really a man though, like you have beliefs that you stand on, and you have a character and a nature about yourself that's unwavering, whatever it may be, that shit just ain't cool no more. You gotta be waverable. you gotta be wayward. You know what I mean? You got, like, if you a guy and you want to be accepted in any kind of way, you gotta be flimsy. You can't be a man and stand on your shit, right? Cause see, me, like, I respect a man that stands on something, even if it's the type of shit that I may not agree with. I used Trump as an example not too long ago when I was live. But, you know, Trump, I may not agree with everything that he says and does. You know, and again, I'm not here to say how good or bad of a president he is. But what I respect about Trump is that he's a man. And he's not easily influenced. You got to respect that. I just like the fact that he's not easily influenced. You know, that DEI bullshit, that's rooted in feminism. But I just like the way he just came and was like, just squashed that shit like a bug and was like, get that shit up out of here. You know, and see, this is how mystical feminism is, right? This is how, like I said, it spreads, it morphs, takes on a different shape or form, and then it spreads some more and it morphs again, and it done spread it and morphs so many different ways that a lot of people don't even recognize it as feminism when that's what it is, right? When Target did away with when they stopped the DEI shit that they had going on, right? People made that a black issue. And they made it where, you know, oh, if you black, you know, we ain't gonna shop at Target for, you know, however many days it was, right? And then it went as far as, you know, when Kai Cenat and Duke Dennis and, you know, them guys, when, you know, they had the little deal that they did, the endeavor that they did with Target, Now the black community is attacking them because, you know, they supporting a corporation that's anti-black. This is how far this shit done went. And see, this is another thing that feminism has done to society. See, you know how a lot of women, or a lot of females, right? I ain't gonna say women, because women are different. But it's a lot of females out here, but it's not a lot of women, right? A lot of bitches look like women, but they really just females, right? But one thing a lot of females are incapable of doing is respectfully disagreeing. And that's what feminism has done to society. Feminism has made it damn near illegal to respectfully disagree, especially with women. But a healthy society is supposed to be able to respectfully disagree with people. Right? And you know, feminism, they try to force everybody to agree with whatever they own. And if you disagree in any kind of way, then you just like you the devil. And you know, Target decided to do away with the DEI shit. But you know, people can't just like respect that, hey, you know, we don't want to do that. And again, you know, feminism not only made it where you can't respectfully disagree, but feminism has also, within like morphing the different ways and shapes and sizes and ways that it does, feminism take on a lot of other people's fights, especially black people. A lot of the shit that we be fighting about and fighting for, it's not really black issues, it's feminism issues, right? Like the DEI shit. You know, if you pay attention, they talk about like different groups and all these different groups. That's their language. Whenever you hear about groups, that's their language. All this non-binary shit and these are my pronouns and all that shit. That ain't black. You know what I mean? That shit ain't got nothing to do with being black. But again, feminism has figured out how to make everybody else's fight their fight. So back to, you know, us having the power to put the judicial system, judges, prosecutors, lobbyists, legislators, back to us putting them, the government, back to us putting them on trial in the court of public opinion. Yes, it's possible, but this is what you up against. That's what you up against. Everybody's soft. Everybody ain't supposed to be soft. You're supposed to have some soft people, but everybody ain't supposed to be soft, man. Dago Dog, good looking with the $5 holla. Not only is it not cool being a man, being a masculine man actually is actually toxic. Yeah, man, that shit crazy, ain't it? God forbid you be that. God forbid you be a masculine man. Yeah, they made masculinity toxic. See, there go my grandson. Nah, the Royal Inn ain't gonna open again, man. That's over with. And if it does open again, it'll never be the same. It might open again, but the Royal Inn as we know it, that's gone forever. The Royal Inn as we know it. The Royal Inn as we knew it for so many years. You know what I mean? And this is what I want you to understand, grandson. Look, you know, sit on your grandpa, you know, lap for a minute, man. Grandson, you know, I don't really blame you because you didn't understand your power, grandson. You don't know what you was doing. You know, you didn't go into it with them type of intentions. I know you didn't. But I was just using you as an example of the power that we all have on this internet that we underestimate oftentimes, right? But even though I don't blame you, you still did what you did though, right? And, you know, I don't think you had good intentions with that. Even though I don't think you intended to affect things the way that you did, you definitely didn't have no good intentions with that. You did. But you still my grandson, you know, I don't really acknowledge you too often, you know what I mean? I don't really let people know you my grandson like that, even though you are, you know, you come from, you know, a nutsack that came from my nutsack that came from my nutsack. You dig? But yeah, man. Grandson, man, you know, I wish you would use your power for more good, man. Cause you do have, you know, some power. You got some influence and shit like that on the internet, man. And I just wish you had better intentions. I wish you would use your power for more righteous things, man. You know, because you be overstepping your boundaries, grandson. You know, you're not a participant of this game, and you know that. You know you're not from this game, grandson. See, you think just because your grandfather is the pimping that, you know, you could be the pimping, but no, grandson, you not the pimping, man. You're not, and that's okay. You know, don't think that grandpa look down on you because you not like your grandfather. You know what I mean? You can't be like me, and that's okay, grandson. I don't want you to be like me. I want you to be better than me. Grandson, I don't want you to be like me, man. I want you to be better than me. I want you to be the best square that you could be, grandson. You know? I refused to post anything on the Royal Inn for 2 years. Then I was told the owner will not let 304s rent anymore. That is when I posted that video. And didn't think that it would go viral. That's false, grandson. See, grandson, if you gonna get on here and talk, man, you gotta tell the truth, grandson. Now listen, grandson, you saying that you made those videos because you heard that the owner wasn't renting the 304s no more. But what did you show on the video? Videos, because you saying video, but you did like a good 4 or 5 video. It's a series of videos. It ain't just one video. You made a series of videos about the Royal Inn, right? And on your series of videos, you showing 304s in them rooms. When they shut it down, they kicked 304s out of those rooms. So 304s was in them rooms all the way up until the end. So, you know, for you to say that, grandson, you know you lying. And then you saying you was told. Who told you this? Probably some dusty ass bitch who did something foul at the Royal Inn, and then the owner wouldn't rent to that dusty ass bitch no more. So that dusty ass bitch probably came and told you, because I know you got hoe partners. You got a whole bunch of hoe partners. You know what I mean? That dusty broad probably came and told you, yeah, the Royal Inn, they won't rent the 304s no more. But that probably didn't even happen. Because again, your videos is totally contrary to what you saying right now. You saying one thing out your mouth and the videos are showing something totally different. So grandson, man, we ain't trying to hear that, man. We ain't trying to hear that, man. I don't want to be a 16. I don't want to be doing cash out cents. See, grandson, you say that, grandson, but you really be trying to act like your grandfather, man. You be trying to talk like grandpa, man. See, come on, grandson. You know, we keeping it real here, man. This is a safe space for the truth. I know it ain't too many places on the internet where you could tell the truth and be cool, but hey, man, you know this is a safe place for the truth, man. We keep it real here, man. It's all good, grandson. But listen, you know you want to be like your grandfather, man. You know, and it's all right, man. You know, I had admiration for my grandfather as well. You dig? You know, a lot of times grandsons admire their grandfathers, so I get that. But, you know, grandpa don't want you to be like him, man. I don't want you to be like me, man. You know, you be trying to talk like me. You be trying to act like me. You be saying things that you heard your grandfather say to 304s, and you be saying these things to the 304s like you your grandfather. You know, but you know, you got to stop that, man. You know, see, I remember, grandson. I remember when you wasn't trying to act like your grandfather. I remember when you was being yourself. And you was doing a lot better when you was being yourself, man. It was okay. You know? See, I already knew that there was some bras that told you that. But see, you know, grandson, you talking to me. I know way better than you. First of all, I know, you know, a bra to tell you anything. Multiple bras will tell you anything. Right? But see, I've been around, grandson. You got to understand that, man. Your grandfather been around, man. I've been around this place for a long time. So I've seen, you know, certain changes take place. And see, grandson, listen, again, I don't want you to be like me, grandson, but this is something that you can learn from your grandfather though, right? You so busy trying to be like me, but one thing that you didn't pick up from me is your grandpa don't believe everything these bitches say. You know what I mean? But my grandson, you believe everything these bitches say. Everything they tell you, you believe in it. Right? So if you learn anything from your grandfather, man, learn that, hey man, these bitches will say anything, man. They'll tell you anything. They'll look you dead in the eye and tell you a bold-faced lie. So don't, you know, be like grandpa in that sense, man. Be like me in the sense of, hey, don't believe nothing these bitches say, man, because they will lie to you. It's in their nature to lie. Like I said, they come out the womb. They when they crying, that's a lie. You know what I mean? Before they even know how to talk, they lying. You know? So, yeah, man, stop believing everything you hear from them bras, man. They telling you, you know, see, if that's really what put the battery in your back, which I know that's a lie. I don't believe that. But if that was really what put the battery in your back, man, that's dangerous, man. Because you just believe in anything these bras be telling you, man. If they tell you the sky is falling, you going to do a video about that. The sky is falling on 27th Avenue, man. You going to do a video about that. Come on, man. Because a broad told you. Come on, grandson. You know? If you learn anything from your grandfather, man, learn that. Don't believe what these bitches tell you, man. They'll lie to you about everything. Ray Allen, good looking with the $2 holler. Can't believe these women all the time. You can't believe them most of the time. Most of them, you know what I mean. You got some women out there that's honest, you know what I mean. But you know, they rare, man. You know, most of these bras, man, they gonna stay in pocket on the truth, man. Most of these bras, they estranged from the truth. They don't have a relationship from the truth. They ran away on the truth when they was young, man, and they ain't seen the truth in a long time, man. You know, if they gave birth to the truth, they're a deadbeat mama. they ain't got no type of relationship with the truth, man. You dig? Shout out to the women out there that do have a relationship with the truth. That don't have a problem with the truth, man. Pimpin' know you exist, and I appreciate you. But hey, the majority, nah, man, they don't have nothing to do with the truth. But see, my grandson, I'm just trying to teach him a lesson, man, because he out here moving off of what the bitch said. Yeah, man, I made them videos because the bitch said. Oh, man, come on, man. We ain't going off what the bitch said. Don't do that. You setting yourself up for a train wreck every time. But it's all right, grandson, you know. I ain't going to go too hard on you, man. Just a little punch in the chest, you know what I mean? Sometimes grandpa got to do that one. Sometimes grandpa just got to fire on you in the chest one time, you know, with this game. Yeah. That's the problem now, man. It's too many of y'all out there, man. You know, you need a grandfather to fire on you in the chest one time. And a lot of y'all ain't got that. I know, man. But, you know, I'm going to fire on as many of y'all in the chest as I can, man. Serve you a little justice, straighten you out. You dig? But I'm only one grandpa, man. I can't be everybody's grandpa. I'll be a grandfather to as many of y'all as I can. And as many of y'all who need to get fired on in the chest, you know, pimping to do that. But you know, it's only so many chests that I can fire on. You dig? Yeah, man, with this game, though, you dig? A lot of people just need to be fired on in the chest one time. That's the problem, man. A lot of these guys, man, you know, they was never like really boys. They never grew up like boys is supposed to grow up, man. You know, when you're a little boy, you supposed to go outside. You supposed to fall down, scrape your knee. You supposed to get into a fight. You know, you might get beat up. You might win some. You might lose some. You know, you supposed to make friends. You supposed to have homeboys. Your homeboy's supposed to do you wrong. You know, a girl's supposed to break your heart. You supposed to go through all this stuff as a boy, man. But a lot of dudes didn't go through that type of stuff when they was little. You know, I love the childhood that I had, man. I love the fact that I was going outside and falling down and scraping myself up and, you know, getting into fights and, you know, making friends and getting into it with friends, or, you know, getting into, you know, me and my friends getting into it with these kids on the next street over and all that type of shit, man. Or, you know, getting into fights after going to the park after school and, you know, catching the fade and all that type of shit, man. I love the way I grew up. You know, being hungry sometimes, you know, going through days where, you know, we eating cornflakes with water and cereal. You dig? Where the water and cereal and the sugar, man. And the sugar settle at the bottom. You dig? You gotta scrape it up with your spoon and shit like that, man. I appreciate all that shit, man. You dig? 27 used to be a low budget smoker track back in the day when Indian School and Van Buren and 53rd and McDowell used to go. Yeah, see that, I didn't make it out here when Van Buren and 51st and McDowell was going. I hadn't made my way out here yet. I was, everywhere else but here. Tyler says, Freeze, how do you deal with people putting false accusations on you? Well, Tyler, first and foremost, man, what helps me deal with that is me knowing the truth. I know the truth, right? And when you know the truth about yourself and what's really going on with yourself, it can be frustrating when people put false accusations on you. But the first thing to understand when it comes to dealing with that, again, is knowing the truth about yourself and keeping that in perspective, because it's easy to lose sight of that when, this person put false allegations on you, and then these people jump on the bandwagon. These people jump on the bandwagon. Now you got all of these people, perpetuating these false allegations against you, right? It's easy to lose sight of the truth. And it's easy to get into the type of situation where you chasing people down, trying to prove, explain to them the truth. Like you chasing this person down, like, you don't have to explain yourself. All you got to do is be the truth, right? Like with Sinful to P. If you pay attention to him, he had all kind of false allegations put on him because of some videos that people saw and, of him in the courtroom and him in the before the parole board and all this type of shit, right? Of course, those videos make him look a certain type of way. And, people start putting false allegations on him, and then they just, took a snowball effect, right? But if you pay attention to Sinful, yeah, he did explain himself in certain instances, but more so than anything, he showed you the truth. He showed you his character, right? And it's like he put the truth on the table. And it was there for you to pick it up if you wanted to, or walk past it if you wanted to, right? A lot of people walk past the truth when he put it on the table. But a lot of y'all was inclined to pick it up and read it and say, oh, this is the truth. Okay, cool. And the way that he did that was just by showing you who he was. Because when you look at who he showed you he was and you measure that against the allegations, it's like, these can't be the same person. He can't be this person and this person at the same time. Ain't no way. He's either this person or that person. And he's showing me that he's this person. They just saying that he's this person, but he's showing us that he's this person, right? So, yeah, they could say what they want over here and try to paint him into this person, but he's showing me. They ain't showing me that he's this person over here. They not showing me that he's a PDF file. They not showing me that, he's this and he's that. But he's over here showing me who he is right here. He's being candid about himself. He's donating to charities and schools and things like that. He's helping people in this way and that way and the third, right? So, and then, again, for the people that knew him, they knew the truth, right? So, same thing with me. I do my best to show you who I am. You got a lot of people that say that I'm this, that, and the third, but, I can show you better than they can tell you. And if you pay attention to who I show you that I am, you know, you'll be able to do the same thing. Like, okay, they saying freeze is this and they saying freeze is that, but they not showing me that freeze is this and that. But meanwhile, freeze is showing me who he is over here. He not just saying that he's this person. He's showing me that he's this person. Right? And then again, like, see, I know this, and this is what I also know as well. It's not so much that the people who not only put the allegations out, the false allegations out there, but the people who perpetuate the false allegations, the people who keep that shit going. What I know is that it's not even so much about whether or not they believe that it's true. Because a lot of them know that it's not true. The people who start the false allegations know that it's not true. They just don't like me. And I know that. I know that you really don't believe this shit. You just don't like me. So because you don't like me, oh, let me put this false allegation on Freeze. Let me start this rumor about Freeze. Let me say this about Freeze, say that about Freeze. I know you're doing that because you don't like me. You can't prove it. Meanwhile, I'm proving who I am all the time. Every time you see me, I'm proving who I am. Right? And then, you know, like I said, I know who I am. I know the truth about myself. And if I continue to show that, it's going to make them allegations look weaker and weaker because, okay, here you have these allegations, right? They saying this about me and they saying that about me. If you think about the allegations and what type of man or person it would take to be guilty of these allegations, man, I know I'm like so far away from that. Because for somebody, the type of person that it would take to be guilty of these allegations would have to be somebody who hates themselves. It would have to be somebody with no self-discipline. It would have to be somebody who can't stand pressure. You know, and I'm totally contrary to anybody who pay attention to me. I'm the total opposite of that. I'm the antonym of that. So, yeah, that's why, you know, when I show you how disciplined I am as a man, and then, you know, when I that's what puts me at ease too. Like the person who puts these allegations out there or the people that put these allegations out there, I know that they can't compare to me when it comes to self-discipline. I know if you put both of us in the same pressure situation at the same time, they not going to be able to make it, but I can and will. They going to fold in the shit that I done been through and am capable of going through. They going to fold. They can't handle shit the way that I do. So, you know, when I keep all of this type of shit in mind, man, that's what, you know, helps me to be able to handle like false allegations and shit like that. The bottom line is I know the truth, right? You know, like, and if I display that to people, those who are inclined, which are the ones who I really only care about, people that are inclined to look at something and be able to separate game from lame and figure out what the truth is, those are the only kind of people I'm concerned with. People that are foolish enough to believe false allegations, I'm not concerned with them. Right? Again, I'm going to put the truth on the table. If you want to pick it up and read about it and figure out what the truth is, you can. If you want to walk past the truth and go over there to the lie, you could do that too. And I'm not going to trip either way. Right? But to the people that's going to pick the truth up and they inclined to learn the truth, okay, yeah, you know, I could rock with them. I could build with them. Right. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build with the people that are into the truth. Right. And again, you know, me showing who I am. Right. Like if you just really think about it, man, there's so many things that I don't eat. There's so many things that I don't drink. There's only a handful of things that I put into my body, and all of it is healthy shit. I don't put no bullshit in my body. I can be in an environment where everybody is putting bullshit in their body except for me. And there's no temptation whatsoever. I'm not tempted. I don't see people like, damn, they over there putting that bullshit in their body. Damn, it look like they enjoying themselves. Man, I should do it too. It's no temptation at all. Right? Like I'm in an extreme love affair with myself actively. I don't just say I love myself. I show that I love myself, right? So that alone, you know, would let anybody with a brain know, like, man, free, like, hell no. You know, like, and then the people who, again, put these allegations out there, these are people that can't resist fast food. They can't resist tobacco. They can't resist alcohol. They can't resist drugs. And, you know, they try to make me into somebody that can't resist, you know, these types of people. Like, man, it's so many grown women that I've resisted. I'm talking about drop dead gorgeous. People would look at me crazy because I resisted these people. Like, you know, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like, you know, I've developed myself in such a way, and I'm still constantly developing myself even now. Like, I'm constantly developing myself in such a way that's like, you know, like I want to be amazing. I want to be an amazing man. So I'm constantly working on myself. I'm constantly developing myself, man. You know, for however great you may see me to be, man, I'm aspiring to something like 1,000 times greater than that. Best example I could use is like Kobe Bryant, man. Like when Kobe Bryant was an all-star, you know, multiple NBA championships, all the accolades that Kobe had. He had every accolade that you could want as an NBA player. But he's still working to get better. He taking post-up lessons from Hakeem Olajuwon. Like, that's somebody who's like insanely obsessed with becoming better constantly. Somebody who can always see a way that they could become greater, as great as the world may see them. You know, they trying to be 1,000 times greater. That's me. Right? As great as people may see me, man, I'm constantly working on myself to be even greater. So when you think about that, and then you think about these allegations, it's bullshit. And I know that, right? I keep all of this shit in mind. That's why it's like, man, I like what I look like trying to prove myself against this bullshit. You dig? So, yeah, that's how I deal with that. And then not just that, but like, you know, being good to people. I do my best to be good to people as much as I can. I'm far from perfect. I can always be better, and I'm working to be better even with that. But, you know, naturally I do my best to be good to people. Right? Especially people who can't do anything for me, or, you know, people who, you know, I don't benefit from in any kind of way. I do my best to be good to people like that. Right? Because that's how you really know somebody's character, by how they treat people that, you know, don't benefit them in any kind of way. You know, I'm not one of them people that's only good to people that are beneficial to me. No, I'm good to all kinds of people that ain't beneficial to me. All the time. But a lot of people are too small to be that way. A lot of people is just nasty to people for no reason. Right? But, you know, I done been through humbling situations, man. I done been homeless. I done been hungry. I done been locked up. I done, you know, I done been through a lot of shit. So, when I'm not in that position, you know, like now that I'm not locked up, I don't look down on people that's locked up. I know what it's like to be locked up. So I don't, you know, and I don't celebrate people being locked up or take joy in people being locked up. I know what it's like to be in that position. So And I know the judicial system ain't shit. I know they lie. Prosecutors lie. Judges lie. Jurors lie. You know, like we talking about, people get, you know, wrongfully sentenced and convicted and all that type of shit. I know the game is dirty, so, you know, I don't look down on people that are in, you know, worse situations than I'm in. You dig? So, and then I understand that it can happen to anybody. God forbid, you know, I'm no exception. Man, they took Puffy. They took they sent Bill Cosby to the penitentiary. Bill Cosby. Like, seriously. See, I know a lot of y'all that's watching is too young to remember the Cosby Show, man, like when in real time, when it was like still in syndication. But man, Bill Cosby, like back in the 80s and 90s when we was watching the Cosby Show, we could never imagine in a million years that this man would end up in prison one day. If somebody would have went around and did a survey like, do you think Bill Cosby will ever end up in prison? Everybody would have said, hell no. So if they'll send him to prison, man, shit, they'll send anybody. Anybody. You dig? Harvey Weinstein. Jeffrey Epstein. You know, these is extremely rich white men that they sent, you know, to the joint. So, you know, they'll do it to whoever they want to do it to, man. So, you know, and that's just one example of, you know, humbling situations I've been through, man. But, you know, I do my best to be humble, man. And if you pay attention to me, I don't lie about nobody on the internet. Even the people that lie on me. Even the people that lie on me, I don't get on here and lie on them. You know, I don't just I ain't into that, man. I love the truth, you dig? Me and the truth got a good relationship. So yeah, man. Yeah, man, and man, I can't even front, man. That messed me up yesterday when I seen that news, man. But speaking of the Cosby Show, rest in peace to Malcolm Jamal Warner, man. Theo Huxtable, man. Man. Yeah, he went out in a bad way, man. Chief Delapo, Bill Cosby was a father figure to many. Yeah, he was, man. Yeah, the Cosby Show was a shit, man. But man, I ain't gonna lie. When I read that Malcolm Jamal Warner had passed away, like chills went through my body. You dig? Because even if you pay attention to other celebrities speaking on him, everybody got nothing but good stuff to say about him. And what I like about Malcolm Jamal Warner is that, man, he been in Hollywood damn near his whole life. And, you know, he didn't have any type of slander. He didn't have no smut on his name. You know, he really made it through Hollywood unscathed. You dig? And I think that speaks to his character a lot. The fact that, you know, nobody tried to put any type of allegations on him. You know, Passport Mars. Nah, you're not talking about Theo didn't marry Superhead. No, he didn't. But see, you see how see, this is that feminism shit that I'm talking about, man. You see how we can't speak good on one man without another male jumping on here like, man, stop the cap. He was married to Superhead. No, he was not. See, and then when you get proven wrong, you're not even going to be accountable and apologize or, you know, take accountability and all that. Like you're not even gonna do that. You such a woman and don't even realize it. You got such feminine ways and don't even realize that shit, man. That shit crazy. You didn't even give the females a chance to get on here and try to slander that man. The females in attendance, man, you know, they wasn't even inclined to be as much of a female as you is right now, man. That shit crazy. Like, where did you get that from? Superhead did marry an actor, but it wasn't Malcolm Jamal Warner. She did, you know, have involvement with different actors, but not Malcolm Jamal Warner. You probably wasn't even born until after the Cosby Show wasn't even on the air no more. He didn't wife Superhead after the book. No, you don't even know what you're talking about. Now, who I think your goofy ass is probably talking about is Columbus Short. Superhead married Columbus Short long after that book came out. He's an actor. But how you mix up Columbus Short with Malcolm Jamal Warner, that's that feminism in you, man. You need to get vaccinated, man. Stick around, though, man. I noticed you've been watching for a little bit. Stick around, man. Right, like he'll say, Theo dated some of the most black women in Hollywood. Let host lame. See, like for instance, right? See, these is the type of women that, you know, Malcolm Jamal Warner has been involved with. He dated Regina King, you know, who's an actress. I know your young ass probably don't even know who that is. You probably have seen her in different movies, but Regina King, he dated her. He was in a relationship with it's this one actress chick. She damn, I'm trying to think of something that y'all would remember her from. She done been on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air before. I think she done been on the Cosby Show before. I want to say she was on A Different World. I can't remember the chick's name, but she's short. She got like a high-pitched voice, petite, kind of funny. Like, you know, the characters that she would play was like laughable. Damn, man. Can't remember that chick's name, but yeah, man, like Keel said, he dated some of like the blackest, like as black as you could get in Hollywood, man. Like, no. Michelle Thomas. I wasn't talking about her, but he did date Michelle Thomas as well. As a matter of fact, he was next to Michelle Thomas on her deathbed. When she passed away, Malcolm Jamal Warner was at her side. You dig? He dated women like that. You know what I mean? But he dated that other chick too, man. Little petite, squeaky voice chick, man. I can't remember her name, man. Not squeaky, but she had like a high-pitched voice. Damn. She done been in a lot of make me want to look her ass up, man. She done been in a lot of movies and TV shows. I'll tell you who she is right now. Karen Molina White. That's who I'm trying to think of. Yeah, he dated Karen Molina White. You know what I mean? for 7.5 years. He dated Regina King for 2 years. Again, Michelle Thomas. He dated her for some time. I don't know if he was still dating her when she passed away, but I know he was right there with her when she passed away in the hospital. Or I don't know if she died in the hospital, but he was right there with her. And he been married for some time. You know, he got a daughter with his wife, but, you know, and that's what I like about him too. You know, he didn't put his wife and his kid in the public eye like that, you know. But it's crazy how we try to give a black man some acknowledgement for the fact that he didn't have no smut on his name. And here you go, another black male, like trying to force some smut on his name that don't even fit, trying to put a jacket on him that don't even fit. That's a prime example of the shit that I was talking about. What did I just say? That feminism has influenced damn near everybody to the point where, you know, these males be fighting they fight and don't even realize that that's the fight that they fighting. Like when you get on here and try to put a false jacket on somebody like that, like here you are, you're a black male and you put a false jacket on a black man who just passed away. And everybody has nothing but good. You the first person I've seen say anything bad about Malcolm Jamal Warner since he passed away. That's crazy. Like everybody is just giving him his props and giving him his flowers, man, and just like speaking about how good of a man he was and how honest he was and how he ain't never been involved in no scandals or no, you know, nothing like that, man. Like he really tried it, man. That shit crazy, man. Shit crazy, man. You a feminist and don't even know it. But like I said, stick around, man. You know, Grandpa Freeze, man, might fire on you in the chest a few times, man, with this game. But you need it, though, for sure. You really need it. And see, that's another thing that feminism influenced you guys to be like, and that's just to talk just to be heard. Like a lot of you guys, you so influenced by feminism that you don't want to talk to make sense. You don't want to talk to enlighten. You don't want to talk to inspire. You don't want to talk to help people in any kind of way. You just want to talk just to talk. That's what women do. But feminism has influenced a lot of you guys to talk just to talk. And it's like, you know, feminism has also influenced you to believe that, you know, every man is bad. It can't be no good man out there. Every man is bad. I'm giving you an example of a good man, and it's like, no, he wasn't. He wasn't good. He married Superhead. Stop the cap. Shit crazy, man. Young man, get it together. That shit don't look good on you, man. That's something your auntie or your big sister or somebody, you know, some woman in your family, you know, leave that for them. Be a man. And then, you know, that's the messed up part about it too. You'll run around. Like if you just did that in my comment section, in my chat, I could just about imagine all the lies and false rumors and shit you done spread on other men. You probably do that shit all the time. You know, you probably was the main one in the comment section, you know, down in R. Kelly when he was on trial. You probably was the main one talking bad about Puffy. You know what I mean? Like he played with you or something, you know? Shit crazy, man. That man really jumped out himself and got in the comment section and said, no, he didn't. He was married to Superhead. Stop the cap. You don't even know who you talking about, man. Where did you get that from? Like, for real, though, like, if you just really stop and think about it, like, where did he get that from, man? How do you just pull that out the sky? This shit is crazy, man. This the world that we live in, though. This is 2025. He ain't the only one. It's millions of him. It's like they just put you feminine, weak-ass dudes on a Xerox machine and just made 1 million copies of y'all. Like they put y'all in the machine, man, and just start, like they got y'all on the conveyor belt. They just pumping y'all out. Feminine. Bunch of feminine ass dudes, man. It's like they got y'all on the assembly line, man. Like, yeah, we gonna put these buster characteristics in them. We gonna put these soft ass characteristics in them. We gonna make them think like a woman right here. It's like they got you on an assembly line, man, and they just pumping y'all out, man. That shit crazy. God damn. Man, whoever would have thought the world would end up like this, man. That shit. And the sad part is it's only going to get worse, man. That's the sad part. It is only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse, man. Dudes is going to get more and more weak, more and more soft. Man, it's scary. Like the little boys that's being born right now, like any young black boys that was born like after 2020, man, I hate to see how they gonna be when they grown. Man, when they old enough to like express theyself, and man, it's scary. Man, can you imagine, like, for real, any little boy that's born like after 2020, how they gonna be when they grow up? God damn, boy, just the thought of that shit. The thought of that shit, boy, stress you out. Man, for real. Six one line Capricorn. Good looking with the $2 holler, man. That nigga gossiping like Ricky Lake. Man, for real. I could just see him with the microphone and the cards in his hand, you know, walking side, you know, from one end of the crowd to the other like Ricky Lake. Oh, man. Bro said he gossiping like Ricky Lake, man. You ain't never lied. That's exactly what he doing. He might got Ricky Lake beat. He trying to give Wendy Williams a run for her money. But yeah, back to Malcolm Jamal Warner, man. You know, he just seemed like a good dude. I remember when I was in high school, I had a group at my school that I created. It was a hip hop group, and then I had made these two chicks secretaries of the group. And see, that's the beautiful thing about women, especially black women, man. When you put them to task in certain ways, they just make things happen. So I made these two chicks, the homegirl Danielle, I forget the other chick's name, but they start arranging for us to go to TV show tapings. And we went to the Malcolm and Eddie show. We was there on the episode that Tommy Davidson was there. Man, hey, Tommy Davidson, he is underrated for how funny he is. Tommy Davidson is a fool. That man is so damn funny. He one of the funniest people I've ever seen, like, as far as like in real life. Man, that man is hilarious, dude. Like, just like in between takes, he just had everybody in the whole studio just dying laughing, right? But yeah, we went to go see Malcolm and Eddie being filmed, man, and it was cool, man. You know, Malcolm Jamal Warner, he was a total gentleman that day. And that show was funny as hell too. That was another classic show, man. Of course, because of how classic the Cosby Show is, you know, a lot of people forget about Malcolm and Eddie, but you know, that was a good ass show too. But yeah. Rest in peace to Malcolm Jamal Warner, man. Tragic situation. This generation wear hoodies in 90-degree weather. Insane. You ain't never lied, man. They do be doing that shit. And I think a lot of it be having to do with like insecurity. They be trying to hide themselves. They don't want nobody to see them. Yeah, Tyler, man, Tommy is underrated, man. Tommy Davidson, that man is hilarious. He is a fool. Yeah, rest in peace to Ozzy Osbourne as well, man. I seen this morning that he passed away as well, man. That's crazy. Rest in peace to Ozzy Osbourne, man. Yeah, Ozzy Osbourne passed away too, man. 76 years old. I don't know what his cause was. I don't know what he passed away from. Damn good memories. I forgot about Malcolm and Eddie. Yeah, Malcolm and Eddie was funny, man. That was a good show. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't a real big TV person. And I never really watched a whole lot of reality TV. But I used to watch the Osbournes sometimes, and that that fool Ozzy, man, he like funny without trying to be funny. Like Ozzy Osbourne used to have me cracking up. Damn, Ozzy was younger than I thought. Yeah, 76. Oh, Parkinson's disease. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I had an uncle that had Parkinson's for a long time, man. He lived with Parkinson's for like shit, damn near 20 years, man, before he passed away. My Uncle Chuck, man, was a real good dude, man. Spova the Prince says, what's your thoughts on the government releasing the MLK files but not the Epstein files? Well, you know why they ain't releasing the Epstein files, cause shit, it's gonna it's gonna make a lot of important people. It's gonna put them on the chopping block, man. It's gonna pull their pants down. But I wasn't familiar with the MLK files. Let me see. Let me see if I can find something on it. Okay, hold on. Trump releases thousands. Oh shit. They always trying to get you to subscribe. I ain't mad at them though. Oh, they trying to bully me into the subscription. They tripping. Let's see this one. Trump administration releases trove of files on Martin Luther King Jr. assassination. The National Archives has published thousands of newly digitized documents relating to the 1968 assassination of the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. as part of a directive by President Trump. The release on Monday follows through on an executive order Trump signed days into his second term, requiring the release and declassification of records connected to King's murder and assassination and the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy and Robert Kennedy. Have been the subject of curiosity and conspiracy for decades. It was not immediately clear what new historical insight would be found in the trove of documents. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence said in a statement Monday that the release included more than 230,000 files, relating to King's assassination, including information connected to the man who was convicted of murdering him, James Earl Ray. God damn. The documents include details about the FBI's investigation into the assassination of MLK, discussion of potential leads, internal FBI memos detailing the progress of the case, information about James Earl Ray's former cellmate, who stated he discussed with Ray an alleged assassination plot, and more, the ODNI statement said. King's family responded to the release by saying the files must be viewed within their full historical context, adding that the late civil rights leader was relentlessly targeted by an invasive, predatory, and deeply disturbing disinformation and surveillance campaign orchestrated by J. Edgar Hoover through the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Excuse me. While we support transparency and historical accountability, we object to any attacks on our father's legacy or attempts to weaponize it to spread falsehoods, King's children, Martin Luther King III and Bernice King, wrote in the statement. Members of King's family have long disputed Ray's conviction, arguing that he was set up, a point repeated in Monday's statement. As we review these newly released files, we will assess whether they offer additional insight beyond the findings of our family has already accepted, they said. In a statement announcing the release, Attorney General Pam Bondi said, "The American people deserve answers decades after the horrific assassination of our nation's great leaders." The Trump administration's decision to publish the files comes as the White House faces growing pressure from Trump's base to also release additional information related to disgraced financer and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. In March, the administration also released thousands of records relating to the assassination of JFK. Yeah. So I'm guessing like maybe it's something in these files that make Dr. King look bad some type of way or something. Yeah, 200,000 files is crazy for real. Goes in the Pale Freeze. What was that cut you made? Damn, fake gorilla mask wearing rape. Yeah, that is the title of that is Rap Devil Simp Diss. And the only place you can find that on the internet is on my SoundCloud. So if you go to SoundCloud and put in Freezes It the same way it's spelled here on my YouTube channel, you'll find that song and a few other songs on there on my SoundCloud. And you can download that song for free if you want. But yeah, it's a Rap Devil Simp Diss because I made that song over the Rap Devil beat that MGK made the diss song against Eminem. I used that same beat. But yeah, that's on SoundCloud though. Right. Cruising with Sean. They try to play on black people's emotions and deflect the masses from real-time issues. Yeah, they stay doing that. You know what I mean? That's what I was talking about earlier, like with the whole Target DEI situation. You know, they played on black people's emotions with that and had black people boycotting Target and shit like that, but that wasn't even a black issue. You know, what I don't like is, you know, how the alphabet community, they try to neutralize themselves with blackness. They try to put themselves, you know, on the same they try to make themselves like just like is just as like that, like the alphabet people, like they've been oppressed just as much as black people, and it's like I don't like that type of shit. But a lot of people go for that though. Then people kill the president in broad daylight in a major city in front of the world, and nobody who helped put the plan together went to jail. For sure. And I don't shit, dude probably, you know, they convicted Lee Harvey Oswald of doing that, and he probably wasn't even the guy that did that. You know, they have fall guys, man, that they will set up and you know, a lot of people be naive to, you know, what be going on behind the scenes. And people just get happy when they see somebody, when they can put a face with the crime. People get happy. But, you know, the majority of people don't question shit like, you know, I don't know, but I don't think Lee Harvey Oswald was the trigger man. That's just like prime example of what I was talking about as far as earlier, right? Like how when the laws change, you know, all these people who were wrongfully convicted, you know, they get their cases overturned and they win big settlements and shit like that. So with Malcolm X's assassination, right, they convicted 3 men. Now, one of the men, it was obvious because, you know, they caught him trying to run out the ballroom, and he had the gun in his hand, and they wrestled him down and all this shit, right? Oh, because he got shot in the leg, I think it was. The one dude who got caught, Malcolm's security shot him in the leg. and that's how they was able to wrestle him down. So he was obvious. They called him, dead bang. But the other two guys that were convicted of Malcolm's murder and assassination, they weren't even there. They were not anywhere in the vicinity when this thing took place. But they convicted two of those men, and they each did 20 years in prison for that shit. Right? So one of the men is still alive who was wrongfully convicted. The other one who was wrongfully convicted, he passed away, I think, like 2009 or something like that. But they both were proven to be innocent, and because they did their time, but they were never proven to be innocent. But recently they were proven to be innocent, and they both won big settlements. I think they won like 30-something million or something like that. Or maybe not that much, but they won some millions though. I forget how many millions it was, maybe like 10 or 15 or something like that. But it was from this guy, this brother, I forget his name, but he put together a docuseries, and it's on Netflix, and it's entitled Who Killed Malcolm X? And he goes into the whole story of who killed Malcolm, and he actually finds the guy who shot Malcolm with the sawed-off shotgun. Like, he finds out who he is, he tracks him down, but before he can confront the guy, the guy end up passing away. So, but it's an interesting series though. But the guy who put that series together, he did the footwork to help them brothers who was wrongfully convicted get that settlement. So shout out to him. But it just gives you an idea of what was going on in the 60s, how the FBI and J. Edgar Hoover with his scandalous ass, how they was just doing shit. They was doing a lot of corrupt shit back then. Joe Blast, as always, good looking with the $5 holla. The woke sheeple are still asleep. Respect, Freeze. Yeah, you know that. But I'm wondering about these files. Like, is there something in here that's like trying to make Dr. King look bad or something? I would imagine so, because the FBI hated him. J. Edgar Hoover hated him. J. Edgar Hoover hated Martin. He hated Malcolm. Any, black man with power back then, he couldn't stand them. Okay. CNN got an update. Let's see what they talking about. Here's what we know so far about the MLK files released by the Trump administration. The long sealed files related to the FBI's years-long surveillance of civil rights icon Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. were released Monday by the Trump administration. Before that, the more than 240,000 pages had never been digitized and sat collecting dust in facilities across the federal government for decades. The Office of Director, so let's see. What's in the FBI's MLK files? The internal FBI memos detail the investigation into King's assassination in 1968 and include the discussion of potential leads as well as documents related to James Earl Ray, King's convicted assassin, according to the Trump administration. The files include scans of black and white documents that were often composed by typewriter, as well as a few pages in color. Some of the records include transcripts or wiretaps and electronic surveillance. David Garrow, he was in that, this David Garrow guy, he was in the documentary Who Killed Malcolm X. He's a historian. David Garrow, a historian and author of Pulitzer Prize biography of King, said the records offer an interesting procedural insight into the methods used by the FBI to surveil King, but so far they don't appear to offer anything that could shift his perspective on the civil rights leader. You have to know FBI numerical serialization practices to even understand what you're looking at. Garrow said about the documents, it's almost akin to learning a foreign language. Garrow said the release also includes freedom of information requests filed by Ray. What did King's family have to say? We already read about that. Why does the FBI have files on King? The FBI surveilled King and his associates throughout the civil rights movement. Under the direction of Hoover, the agency sought to undermine King's efforts to secure civil rights for African Americans by dredging up information that could tarnish his personal image and investigating his alleged ties to the Communist Party. They treated him as an adversary, somebody who it would help to have dirt on. Historian Jonathan Eeg, author of Pulitzer Prize winning biography King, A Life, told CNN's Zachary Wolf. In addition to surveillance, King's phone lines were often bugged, as well as the hotel rooms where he would often stay, Eeg said. The FBI, so I'm guessing they probably, because I remember they was trying to put rumors out, I want to say like a couple years ago, that like Dr. King was caught in an affair and all that type of shit. But hey, the FBI was grimy back in the day, man. Like, something that I just was reading that I didn't know, but I wasn't surprised, was I was reading about Bunchy Carter, right? For those of y'all who don't know, Bunchy Carter was a Black Panther who led the Southern California chapter of the Black Panthers, right? He was from LA. Now, before Bunchy Carter was a Black Panther, he was a member of the Slossons gang. You know, the Slossons was an old school gang from South Central, right, on the east side. So Bunchy Carter, he went from being a gang member to the leader of the Southern California chapter of the Black Panthers, right? And Bunchy Carter and another Black Panther, they were killed at a meeting at UCLA by some members from the US organization, right? The US organization was another Black organization back in the 60s, right? So but they were often at odds with the Black Panther Party. But come to find out, you know, the police was putting bullshit in the mix and stirring up drama between the US organization and the Black Panthers. Like, they would send messages to the Black Panthers and make it seem like it was from the US organization, you know, threatening them, and they would do vice versa to the US organization. They'd send them messages, you know, making it seem like it came from the Black Panthers, but the whole time it was the police. And that resulted in Bunchy Carter getting killed, right? So it just go to show you how dishonest law enforcement has been historically, right? And the type of nonsense they stirred up. You know, Sepulveda the Prince know, just like I do, like, those of us from LA, we know the history of like LAPD and how they get down. And a lot of the gang conflicts, a lot of beefs that started 50 years ago between gangs in LA was started by the police. The police used to dress up as like rival gang members and go, do a drive-by on this gang and, be acting like they from this other gang, but it's the police the whole time. Just imagine some dudes dressed up in blue with blue rags on and all this shit, and they in a car, and they do a drive-by on some Bloods and making it look like they Crips, but the whole time it's the police. This is shit that they did back in the day. And I say all of that to say, if it was any type of dirt that was put on Dr. King's name, it's in that same vein. Law enforcement, man, they've been hella grimy to black people, for eons, man. I mean, we really the reason why there is so much law enforcement in the first place. You dig? Because back when slavery was a thing, you didn't have big police forces and, all these different law enforcement agencies and stuff like that. When slavery was still going on, you didn't have all that. You'll have a sheriff, a deputy, and they'll police the whole town. You know what I mean? Like you didn't have all of these big, police forces and all that type of shit when slavery was going on. When slavery was abolished, then you start seeing all these big police forces coming to be. And you seen black people getting sent to prison for years for being out past curfew. Just imagine you being falsely accused of being out past curfew and you end up going to prison for years. This the type of shit that was going on back in the day, right? So yeah, man, I say all that to say if they did put some smut on Dr. King's name, it wouldn't surprise me. Just like trying to say he was a part of the Communist Party. Like, where y'all get that from? The FBI. Why were the records released now? We pretty much read that. Oh, so that wasn't really much of an update. But yeah, man, back to the original topic at hand. Man, may the Most High have mercy on Cash Out and his mother and his cousin, man. I think they got railroaded, and I don't believe that they deserved the time that they've been handed. You dig? Right, most of the time it was black cops doing the shooting. Of course, because like if they dress up as like Bloods or Crips and they go do a drive-by on some Bloods or Crips, of course they got to be black. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's crazy, man. The police doing that's crazy. The police starting gang wars. It's gang wars that been going on 40 and 50 years, man, that was started by the police. Shit crazy. Yeah, see, Cashmere, you said how did they not understand it was whites doing drive-bys, then supposed the Prince let it be known that it was blacks, right? This just go to show you how they get down, how they was getting down back in the days. So in that documentary, Who Killed Malcolm X, right? They said during the assassination, you know, during that event where Malcolm was assassinated, they had 9 informants. 9 informants in there, right? And these are just like informants, right? People that was a part of the nation that were informants, you know, for the NYPD and the FBI. But then they had a brother there, and he was part of the security, and he gave Malcolm mouth to mouth. The guy who gave Malcolm mouth to mouth when he got shot and ended up dying was a police officer. He was an undercover police officer, right? A black man. Undercover police officer for the NYPD. Now, this how cold it was, right? This black man that was posing as a nation member, or not a nation member, but he was posing as a Muslim and a follower of Malcolm X. He was an undercover officer, but he didn't even know any other officers on the force. They didn't really tell him much. Basically, they just swore him in, made him an officer, and then just threw him out there. Right? He used to sometimes question like if he was even really a real officer or not, but he was. They swore him in, but he didn't know no other officers. Didn't know other officers know him. Didn't. So like it could have been other undercovers in there as well, but they didn't even know each other. This is the type of stuff they used to do. So I say all of that to say the LAPD would probably hire brothers as undercover police officers strictly for the purpose to do drive-bys posing as rival gang members. You know what I mean? That was their only job detail, was to do these drive-bys and start these gang conflicts, but they not doing no other, you know, police duties. Because this brother who was an undercover for the NYPD that was posing as a Muslim and, you know, working security for Malcolm, he never arrested nobody. He never was like patrolling the neighborhood and protecting and serving and doing all that shit. They just hired this man as a police officer and immediately put him undercover with Malcolm. You know, he didn't go through the normal channels that police officers normally go through. You dig? They just hired him strictly to be an undercover, but they gave him a badge and a gun and made him an officer. So I'm pretty sure the LAPD was doing the same shit. You dig? A lot of them dudes that was doing that, that was doing them drive-bys and starting them gang wars and shit like that, they probably never did nothing else as a police officer. They probably never wore a uniform, drove a squad car, put anybody in handcuffs. They probably never did none of that shit. They just simply swore him in, gave him a badge and a gun, and said, go do this. You dig? So, hey man, shit was grimy back then. Amsterdam Baby says, cops hate us. I am white, by the way, from Holland. But if you see the hate they have for me, you would think I'm black. Yeah, it's probably just the type of guy that you are, something about you that they don't like. Hey, but speaking of Holland, right, it makes me think about Greece. Hey, man, I don't know if y'all seen that shit. But it was there was a college professor. I want to say he was a professor at UCLA. I can't remember what school. I want to say it's UCLA, but he was a college professor from California, right? It's crazy, man. This just go to show you how to. This is another example of how the law be failing people, right? Now, this college professor from California, right? He was married before and had two kids with this woman. He divorced her, so now she's his ex-wife, right? And when she divorces him, she takes their 2 kids and moves to Athens, Greece. So she's living in Athens, Greece with the 2 kids that they got together, right? So, and she got this new boyfriend. Now the new boyfriend is threatening dude, you know, all this type of shit, right? So the college professor, he goes and tries to get a restraining order, you know, against his wife. And in the request for the restraining order, he says that he's in fear for his life. Man, how about these people denied the restraining order, right? So he goes to Greece to see his kids. And while he's in the vicinity of the baby mama's crib, an unknown assailant comes up and pops him and runs off. And they end up arresting 3 people. It's 5 suspects, though. I think they arrested 3 people, including the baby mama. The baby mama got arrested. I think they arrested her boyfriend. I think they arrested a 3rd person, but they were saying it's like 5 people involved. But that's some crazy shit, though. You know, you a college professor, which means you a tax-paying citizen. You know, you try to use the law, you know, that the law enforcement agency that you pay taxes to have protect and serve you. You try to utilize them to protect and serve you because you're in fear of your life. They deny you the request, and then you end up losing your life. That shit crazy. But it's going to show you how the system be failing people, even, you know, even white people. It don't compare to black people, but shit crazy. Yeah, Support for the Prince. You saw that, huh? That shit was crazy, man. Yeah, it's a lot of topics that I'm gonna have to touch on, man, in some short videos. I just been busy, you know, handling a lot of different business, man. But that's one topic I'm gonna probably go further in depth about, the situation with that college professor. I gotta talk about Andrew Tate, weird ass. I usually don't even talk about Andrew Tate, man, but he a weirdo. I gotta speak on the situation with him. I gotta speak on that Obama shit. That shit was crazy. And it's I think there's a few other things I need to speak about too that I can't remember right now. But yeah, man, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this thing on up. Let me hydrate my game one time before we go. If you ain't wiped your feet off at the door when you stepped into a pimp's domain, please do so now. Hit that like button. But yeah, man, we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing on up. As always, I appreciate y'all for tuning in and tapping in with a pimp. I appreciate all the comments, questions, input, jokes, feedback, all that good stuff. I appreciate you sharing this video. I appreciate you subscribing. I appreciate you hitting the bell when you subscribe. I appreciate all the super chats, cash apps, PayPals. I appreciate your support in every which way that you comes with it, man. Y'all already know who it is and what it is. Freeze is it. If you out in traffic moving around, please do so in a safe fashion. And of course, as always, long live the incomparable Sinful to P. We out.